When we begin chapter 9, we're talking about triads in inversion. You can look in your book on page 169, and it has a little discussion about the uses of inversions. Bottom of page 169. The harmonic use. When you use inversions, you get different sonorities or sounds when you use something besides root position. Page 170, the second use of triad inversion, the second sentence reads, with inversions, the bass can become truly melodic. We open up some more notes for the bass to sing so the bass can have melodies like the other voices. So how do you do inversions? These are root position triads. Here is the basic triad, C, E, G, and this is the root, C, and here is a voiced chord, C, E, G, with the root in the bass. We call that a root position chord. It's signified with a Roman numeral, and it's the 1 chord. Now we're going to see, well, what's an inverted chord? If you take the same chord and don't give the root to the bass, but give the bass the third of the triad, you would write it like this. C, E, G, but the bass gets the E. Bass is not singing do anymore on this triad. Bass is singing mi. It gives it a different voice of the scale. And would you please notice something? The notes of the triad are C, E, G, but we have C on soprano and another C on the tenor. This is on page number, I'm going to have to skip a little bit, page 180. The first line on page 180 tells you that when you write a triad in first inversion, the common doubling is to double the soprano. In this C, E, G chord, we've got C, E, G. Those are the notes that are used, but soprano had the C, so we gave out 2 C's, C, C, E, G. If the soprano had a different note, we would give out a different doubled note besides the C. There's another instruction on page 180, and it says, although the same doubling applies to minor triads, you could also double the third in a minor triad. Same double in minor triads, but also you can double the third. So 2 choices, double soprano or double third. Look at the bottom of page 180, and this is an exercise, exercise 9.2, about writing the triads in first inversion. And the instructions say, add alto and tenor voices in these first inversion triads, write in both open and closed positions, except in the 3 problems where the given notes and vocal range will not allow. So what's the first step? The first step is to realize that you can't spell the triad based on the bass note any longer. This bass note is an F sharp, but the triad is D, F sharp, A. So what you have to realize, of the 3 notes of a triad, if the bass has the third, you can't spell the triad based on that note as a root. You have to say, okay, this is the middle note, it's an F sharp, so I've got to make a triad that starts with something F sharp A. That's hard to switch your gears, but you have to do it. Look at number 1. The bass note is G. So the triad has a third below, which is an E, then the G, and then the B, because that's a definition. What is the little number you see below the staff that tells you you're looking at a first inversion triad? The 6. And the 6 means when you count up from the G, G, A, B, C, D, E, one of the intervals is a 6. We expect usually a third and fifth, but when you count up and you land on a chord tone and it's a sixth above, we have to write the 6 down here. So let's see, how can we voice this triad? E, G, B with a G in the bass and an E in the soprano. Well, we have to figure, what are we going to double anyway? What did we say on the minute ago about doubling? You double the soprano. So our notes are E, G, B. Soprano has E. So this is what we want to end up with, E, E, G, B. I've already got my soprano E. I've got my bass G. So I need another E and a B. Well, the easiest one is to give the tenor the B or the B flat and give alto the E flat. What kind of a position is this? Open or close? Not very close looking to me. It must be open. Now let's write a fresh soprano and a fresh bass and a fresh little 6, so we'll know we're doing inversions. I still want E, E, G, B. I've still got E and G, but I'm going to, instead of giving the alto the E this time, I'm going to give the alto the B. Pretty close to soprano, isn't it? And now I've got to get tenor on the E, and I've got to give it ledger line E. Here we go. And if I look at this carefully, I count from soprano down to tenor. There's 1 octave. That's close position. And that's what this whole exercise is. Recognize the triad, recognize how to double soprano, and then write it in both open and close position. There are 3 triads that are spaced so closely together, it's only possible to get close position.